Please welcome founder of Sharsheret, Rochelle Shoretz, and founder of Imerman Angels, Jonny Imerman.
What's happening, everybody? You guys having a good time? Everybody's having fun? I mean, I am so flattered to be on here on the stage with Rochelle and with Brad and all these inspirational people. I mean, I'm so fired up right now. I'm trying to focus on cancer and what we have to talk about. But let's hear another round of applause for all the other speakers. Amazing speech, Brad. Amazing speech. Loved it. All you guys. And I want to give a quick shout to Chi-Town and the D. Both cities I love. Let's big it up. Both cities that mean a lot to me. Well, I can't help, again, my name is Jonny Imerman, and I can't help but start this short speech with when Brad Sherman said he's got the world by the balls, because when I was 26, I had testicular cancer. And so the story goes, 26 years old, I get diagnosed with testicular cancer, going to the gym 3 days a week, playing basketball, feel like a normal kid in the 20s, you know, last thing in the world you're thinking about. And all of a sudden, one day you're told, you have cancer. And I was alone, I was with my doctor, crossed his legs. He said, do you know who Lance Armstrong is? And I said, this is 2001. I said, yes, isn't he that cyclist, the same guy that beat cancer, I think, right? And he looked at me and said, yes, you know, he's a survivor, and you've got the same cancer, and I'm gonna help you get through this. Step one, had to remove the left testicle. There's no way to separate it from the cancer. Step two, I had to bank sperm. There's a good chance, the doctor said, you're probably gonna be sterile. You're never gonna be able to have your own children. Step three, I had a port, which is a plastic implant in the side of my bicep, and that's where I'd go for chemo every single day. I did chemo about 5 months. It was 8 hours a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every day was the first week of every cycle, like a 40-hour chemo week. Cancer had spread from my left testicle into my pelvis and stomach. After 5 months of chemo, it worked, and I was very grateful. My body was clear. Scans were clear. Thank you. Thank you. At 27, I enjoyed a year of building back up, and of course it's hard, as Rochelle and I both know very well, and you're mentally broken down and physically tired. But I built back up at 27, then at 28, I had a recurrence, and I had 4 tumors that popped up behind my kidneys, sort of near my spine. So we had to do an 11-inch surgery, vertically, but right beneath my sternum, straight down, and they took out my liver, my kidneys, my intestines, all my organs completely out of my body, pushed them to the side, cut the 4 tumors out of the back, took all the organs, put them right back in where they should be, stitched the stomach muscle, and then 60 staples, boom, 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 up and down. And as you might imagine, going through cancer twice in your late 20s makes you think a lot about life and about what you're supposed to do in the world. And I had the most amazing Jewish mother in the world that slept at the hospital. She was there every minute, every chemo, every surgery. She's amazing. The most loyal, giving person I've ever met in my life. My brother was great, my friends were great, 15 people around me during chemo every day. I was never alone. But the one missing puzzle piece is I looked around and I didn't know anyone that could look me back in the eye and say, I get it because I've been there. I get it because I relate and I remember and I beat what you got, and guess what? I'm in the gym and I'm going to work and I'm living strong and I'm happy and I'm healthy and I'm back on my feet again and life is awesome. I'm doing good things in the world. Keep your chin up, kid, because you're going to get there too. And that's what I wanted to find. And so what we're taught in the Jewish community, coming from my Jewish mother, among everything, and the values we're taught in the Jewish community, is how do we give back? How do we find a crack like that and then serve it to help others? So what I started to do after my last chemo, I started walking into my cancer clinic, introducing myself to people that were sick and saying, hey, I'm Jonny, you know, I just went through cancer. What kind of cancer do you got? What I found, these people were open arms. Come in, sit down. You know, did you get these, you know, this throat sores? What'd you do about it? Did you get this funky rash from chemo? What type of chemo did you have? Instant friendships from 2 people who shared an amazing, amazing bond and amazing experience. And over time, I realized this idea is scalable. we can help anybody. I can help people locally in Detroit, Michigan at my cancer center, but there's people all over that can be helped. So we started reaching survivors, and we started building a network of survivors, from 5 survivors to 10 survivors to hundreds. Today it's over 4,000 cancer survivors or angels with Imerman Angels. And the power is in the team. I'm one survivor, thousands together. As Lance Armstrong said, unity is strength. Thousands together change the cancer world. So what do we do all day? We take calls at Imerman Angels based in Chicago. We take calls and we say, we know someone you should know. This survivor is your age, your gender, beat your cancer at your stage level with identical treatments, and they're living strong. You gotta know them. One-to-one, we connect them. And then what happens when you get somebody anywhere in the world, in Israel, in Florida, in London, parents call us and say, I have a 4-year-old with leukemia named Isabel, and we're alone. Nobody knows what we're going through. This is our little kid. We want to hook those parents up with another set of parents that say, our little girl, Sue, beat that when she was 4, and she's okay today. You know, she's going to get through this. We'll help you. Connect the parents. So one-to-one cancer support. That's what Imerman Angels does. And if there's one message I can leave with you guys in closing, is that anyone can do anything. If you believe in it so much, and you care about it so much, and it makes the world a better place so much, get off your feet and build it. Dream big, think big, anything can happen. We started with a handful of survivors. Today is 4,000. I can't wait till we're at 4 million survivors, and we'll get there. And we'll do it one at a time, and every one of us will help somebody sick. And the last point I do want to say is, again, we're about connecting. And there's a survivor here today who's actually a fighter, who was one of our angels, Mark Chibnik, a close friend of mine, who's here today from Chicago. And he is a guy that joined us as an angel to mentor others that are sick with the same cancer of lymphoma. Great, great man. I hope you guys all meet him today. And he had a recurrence as well. And what he needs is a stem cell donor. And you're much more likely to get it from the Jewish community. So I can't encourage everyone enough to help one of our angels who's back in the fight today by getting a stem cell swab, by getting a swab to be on the list, because it might be your blood, a simple blood transplant to save a life. A Jewish life or any life, you can save a life. I wish everybody well. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you, JUF. Rochelle, I'll turn it over to a cancer gladiator, Rochelle Shoretz.
Before I begin, I just have to say that as a breast cancer survivor who speaks often and nationally about health and my own body, I absolutely love following Jonny on stage, because I know that you are all so busy thinking about his balls that you are not going to be thinking about my breasts. I know it. I just know it. But if you do want to meet Jonny and me, we're actually hosting a Sharsheret soiree this evening, and I hope you'll stop by and learn more about our work. As the founder of a national organization with an expertise in Jewish families with cancer, people are often surprised to learn that I didn't grow up involved in the Jewish community. Yes, I had and have a very strong Jewish identity. I went to yeshiva, we observed Shabbat and the holidays, my friends call me Ruchi for short, but my parents weren't particularly involved in Jewish communal life. They didn't serve on boards, they didn't contribute much to Jewish charities, they certainly didn't come to gatherings like this one. But when I was diagnosed with breast cancer for the first time at the age of 28, my focus turned immediately to the Jewish community. There had to be a Jewish breast cancer organization. We have an organization to address every malady, don't we? Every one. And we seem to be so hard hit by this particular disease, the aunt on Long Island, the cousin in Chicago, grandma in Miami, and I began to wonder, why didn't we have a Jewish response to breast cancer? My work began to focus on the genetics of breast cancer. 1 in 40 of us, men and women, carry a cancer gene mutation, clearly a Jewish issue. The effects of a cancer diagnosis on spirituality, Jewish. Chemotherapy, radiation treatments, and their impact on fertility and those Jewish babies everyone is always urging us to have, Jewish. Even the name of the organization I founded, Sharsheret, which in Hebrew means chain, unapologetically Jewish. I've done a lot of amazing things in my short life. I clerked for the United States Supreme Court. I learned how to kayak in Class 4 whitewater. I took an impromptu trip to South Africa with friends when I was diagnosed for the second time with incurable cancer 2 years ago. But I can tell you this, as someone now living with metastatic cancer and a sharpened sense of the value of time, nothing has given my life more meaning than sharing worldwide and with Federation leaders like you across the country Sharsheret's unapologetically Jewish mission. Nothing. Of course, there are issues that unite people the world over. Poverty, injustice, whether Tim Tebow is good or bad news for the Jets. And yes, cancer affects women and families of every background. But our unapologetically Jewish voice on all of these issues can both enhance the lives of those in our community and create models that we share with those beyond our community. My son's name is Shlomo. Unapologetically Jewish, I know. And not long after I was diagnosed the first time, he and I saw a friend of mine, Irish Catholic, with no hair, wearing a hat similar to the one I wore during chemotherapy. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to show Shlomo that cancer happens, he was 7 at the time, not just to his mom, but to lots of women. And so I said to him, I see that you notice Kathy has no hair. She's wearing a hat. What do you think that means? And I expected him to say, she's sick. But instead, because of Sharsheret's work, he looked at me and said, you're helping her. Sharsheret had turned cancer on its head. It wasn't about cancer. It was about healing and helping. It was about a community of young women and men, most of whom don't have cancer themselves, coming together to address a critical health issue. And it was unapologetically Jewish. So here's what I've learned on this incredible journey I call my life. Our lives, our work, our networks can be meaningful, impactful, and unapologetically Jewish. Whether our Jewish engagement is genetic, cultural, spiritual, religious, political, active, reactive, familial, social, or sexual, our lives and our life's work can be unapologetically Jewish. Embrace it. Own it, because at the end of the day, our legacy, that which we leave behind for my children like Shlomo and for yours, that too will be unapologetically Jewish. Thank you.